Hi, everybody. Matt here from Matt Likes Comics. And yes, I know what you're thinking, Stephen. And welcome, everybody, tonight to one of the best shows on TV, if you consider YouTube TV, of course. And that is the Sunday Superman Show. I have been blessed tonight to have 3 guests join us. And we've got 2 newbies to the show tonight and an old favorite. So let's everybody say hello.
Old?
Yes, Cram Bradley's been here so often. He's
okay, thank God, because I guess I'm sensitive about it.
For those that don't know, please say hi, and welcome Chris, better known as Cram Bradley, in the chat to the show. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Welcome to the show. And then next we have somebody who's been on my Tuesday show and whose show I have graced, but hasn't been on the Superman show before. Hi, Eric. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks, Matt. Thanks for having me coming in. I was a little nervous tonight because I'm like, my collection of Superman is like all over the place. It's chaotic. There's no rhyme or reason to it.
There's no bad Superman.
There is no bad Superman. He's the thing I've always liked about Superman is there's something about him for everybody. Even if you hate him, and want to cheer for the villain, you still have, I always say it's hilarious when somebody hates a character and wants to cheer for the other people. Well, you still paid for the movie ticket or you still paid for the book,
True.
And, of course, our wonderful returning guest, Mr. Stephen Gentner.
Greetings and felicitations, my fellow comic book collectors. Hello!
Well, I am very happy to have you all here tonight because this show is considered tonight. We don't have a theme. We're going with what we like to, basically, this is what I brought to the show. Great theme, I think. And we're going to have a little fun tonight. I hope we're going to see some awesome books and maybe we'll learn something very well. Just a quick channel note. We're up to 705 subscribers. So we're only 95 subs away.
95?
95.
You start to sound like Monty of White Gloves. He always wants DNA and kidney samples and all this other stuff. He wants to have a term paper written. He wants to have pictures involved. It has to be on his desk by such a time to get his awards. Then he has some secret codes. You have to watch every show, and then he mumbles the salient. He mumbles them. You'll have to watch it again. You'll have to watch it again.
Well, I'm not that extreme. It's just this time I decided not to pick a weird comic number, and I'm going with a nice round number because it's easier to math. So let's take a minute before we get into everything and say hi to everybody who's joined us tonight. We've got Rob Saint. Hi, Rob. He's first today.
Hi,
and we've got this guy who was on the panel. Hi, Graham.
Hi, Rob. Hi, Chris.
And we've got Kay Munin in the chat.
The scoffer is here.
Yeah. And apparently he wants to know if Wicked... Hi, Susie.
Hi, everybody.
How are you?
Good. Nice to see you.
She's going to go score some turkeys. They have them on sale for Thanksgiving and Christmas. Frozen turkeys.
Very cool.
And evidently the frozen turkey that is sitting before you is not sufficient.
Frozen turkey breast. I'm going to try to get a good deal. Stick them in the freezer. I don't know.
It's hard to fit me in there, but she manages somehow.
Kay Munin,
drive
of course,
safely, Sue.
He's afraid we're going to terrorize him with Lois Lane covers.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, if that's what you want, I've got a whole bunch. Fair enough. I'll get them out for you.
Eric is here. And let's see. We've got the great, awesome Robbie Josephs.
Hi, Robbie.
And we've got Second Floor Comics here. Hello.
Godot, evening, Kugamun, and Godot. That sounds like that Star Wars, the scene where Greedo or whatever is talking to Godot.
All I'll say is Hound shot first. And we've got Rich in the house. Good to see you, Big Nasty.
Large and nasty.
Comic Mike's here. Hi, Mike.
Comic Mike.
Mike was with us last time, and he says apparently that he's been demoted in one of his other comments.
He's been demoted?
Because he's not on the show tonight.
Oh, okay.
Let's see here. Man, there's a lot of talking going on. Mark Mueller's here. Hi, Mark. Mark's issues
Mr.
with our
Mueller.
and Patel's here. Hello, Patel. Tan.
Tan, how are you?
I had the pleasure of meeting Tan at the last comic show I went to.
Very
We
generous man.
Metal Elf Collectibles.
I haven't seen
Welcome to
Metal
the
Elf
show.
before.
We've got Mike from Chonko Comics and
Let's
Nerd
start
Culture
the show.
here. Hey, yo. As they say. And that's everybody at the moment by the looks of it. So let us begin. And tonight I'm going to begin by asking if Eric would be happy to show us some books.
Sure.
Get us all started. I'll just make you big. And
All
as
right.
usual, I'll ask questions and or comment as we go.
All right, so I got a couple stacks here. I'll just start running through them. These are actually stacks I put together since it's the spooky season. I put together some Halloween stacks. So some of these you can see on my channel because I put them up on Instagram as little shorts. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to start with this Superman from 344. And I think this is an early one for me when I kind of started getting a bunch of Superman. But I got classic Superman fighting Frankenstein and Dracula.
And Dracula, yes.
So
that is a good one if you haven't read it.
Yeah, I don't quite. I think what reason I got this was I was thinking, okay, how is Dracula going to be sinking his teeth in the Man of Steel's neck?
Magical.
I mean,
magical.
He's got kryptonite braces or something on.
No. Superman is also affected by magic. And
that's true.
Dracula is magical based, so he will.
However, would have his head ripped right off of his body.
Yeah, Frankenstein is
the stitches wouldn't hold, right?
Yeah.
Then I got this one because I think this one just it kind of cracks me up how in your face it is of Superboy. Which number is this? This is 189.
Yeah, I have that.
They walk in on him hanging. He's just swinging in the breeze there. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. When I bought that, when I was a kid and I bought that for the first time, I saw it at a 50-cent bin way back in the late 80s. I thought, really?
Yeah.
This was allowed in the code?
I know.
I know that it's Bronze Age, but still, that was pretty. Yeah,
they were loosening the standards by that time. Actually, I know that you were after the runaway super baby was what was dragging you in. Nuts to the hanging guy. It was that super baby had you going. Excuse me, just a moment, Mr. Matt. What happens in this story? What was Pa doing?
Oh God, it's been so long. Basically, this was a something to do with Superboy having. Oh man. I'm actually blanking a bit here.
Okay, that's all right.
It had something to do with, in the end, it was either a dream or a hoax.
Okay. All right. Well, this one's for you, Matt. It's an old Supergirl. This is 408 Adventure Comics. So,
yes.
My God, that's an old one.
Now that's a good one. That one is.
God,
the girl is a ghost.
Yeah. I like
Supergirl
her in a haunted house. In one of her many outfits in the 70s, too.
Yes. She actually encounters that ghost on a couple of occasions and then doesn't realize she's a ghost until near the end of the story.
I thought it's an interesting one.
She sees dead people?
Okay. Yeah.
She sees dead people.
Here's a newer one. Superman Unlimited, number 4, where he gets turned into basically Man-Bat.
Yes.
Red kryptonite feels like red kryptonite going on here.
It is kryptonite based, but it's not red kryptonite per se. Superman Unlimited, if you're reading the current series, is very kryptonite based, and Superman is never quite at 100%, and things are affecting him as a result.
Yeah.
Now he can be affected by kryptonite again. Didn't they get rid of the kryptonite thing a while back?
Yeah, but it's been long.
This is kind of out of continuity a little bit too, isn't it?
This does take place in terms of continuity. It is not quite what we're used to. That is true. Yeah. But also, it's supposed to take place a few years ago and not now.
Let's see. Here's one for, kind of K-Munin. I know he's not a fan of this one, but 81 Jimmy Olsen, where they got demons from Pandora's Box.
That's so cool.
That is
what a cool book.
I mean, look at his ears.
Mhm. Yes. That would be a
I think it's
transformation.
because it looks like K-Munin. That's why he gets so upset.
But what I don't own this one right now, but I have read the story because it's been in digest form. And
Okay.
I have to say that this whole Pandora box thing, again, it ends up being a dream.
Yeah. A lot of those.
There's a
those
lot of
ones
that
were-
stuff.
Now if it's got a zombie on a comic, if you couldn't tell with my buddy behind me, I'm gonna buy it. And I have this series from Blackest Night is I think it was 3 issues only, Superman storyline tie-in, but it's got him battling zombies right there. So of course, I'm gonna get it.
Well, what happened in the Darkest Night, for those that don't know, was that Necron, who is the god of the dead, basically in the DC worlds back then, he basically every superhero that ever died, he reanimated as a Black Lantern corpse.
Yeah.
And there was one cool scene where Superman fights Kal-El, the original Golden Age Superman, because he had died. And it was just, it was like bringing back memories of some of those old Justice League crossovers. It was pretty cool.
Here's another Supergirl. This is straight up Supergirl from Rebirth, number 7.
Yes.
I pulled it out because it's werewolves, but a different kind of werewolf of Krypton.
Yeah, that was one that was a lot of fun too. I think it was, if I'm trying to remember correctly, partly through manipulation from the Phantom Zone and partly and memory, and partly from actuality.
Yeah. And then here's a DC Comics presents of Superman in the House of Mystery, and I like this cover because it's like the monsters are like your classic, almost Halloween, creatures that you would see on the little cutouts that you could put in your window type thing. I mean, look at that ghost. That is just very classic, and the werewolf very classic.
And who is the guy, the narrator guy again? What's his name? Uncle
His
whatever.
name is Kane. His name is Kane. His brother is Abel, and Abel is in the House of Secrets.
So,
but what I find interesting about this book, if I remember correctly, the House of Mystery book had been canceled at the time that this came out.
Yeah.
So this was kind of like the only way you saw Kane afterwards for a little while, because Kane actually disappears from comics after this for about 11 years.
Yeah. Let's see, what else do I got here? I got... here's another one that I like because you don't normally see Superman covers with like your classic supernatural beings on it. So this one's got actual little devils on there.
Yeah, I bought that recently. This is fun. That's an interesting book too. Again, it's not everything is not what you see. That's the biggest key about these Superman supernatural books for the most part.
They left the word I out of the dare you.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, Veronica.
I dare you, Superman. Dare you? Oh, do you dare to come in? Dare you? Do you dare?
Yes.
Okay, I dig.
There's another Jimmy Olsen that I got with more vampires, but I got this because it was Kirby.
That one looks like the guy off that kids show there, Beetle Brox or whatever. I don't remember but... Is he a vampire on the TV show, or is that just a guy in makeup that looks like
he is supposed to be a vampire?
Okay.
This one I got, it's a Kingdom Come special, but I thought the cover was pretty cool. It looks like kind of Hellfire type of thing. You got an evil Superman choking out the good Superman.
Yes. Well, this is when Kingdom Come was an alternate universe that brought the Superman back, and that Superman, like the original Superman, the Golden Age Superman, and that Superman ended up in the Justice Society of America pages for a while, and then he went back to his old dimension, and everything was good again.
Here's a Supergirl. This one I got because I love another cover buy for me. Anything Bigfoot related, I'm gonna get, and I thought this was hilarious that the two of them are basically fighting over him.
Well, it's because he's been transformed. It's a guy that both of them were dating that neither of them knew,
right.
And then he got transformed into a Yeti, and so
they still want him.
Save him. Well, they do break up with him when he comes back.
Well, he's shaggy in all the right places. That's what I heard.
No, come on. Here's a limited series: Superman, Batman versus Vampires and Werewolves.
Very cool, and that's a book I've never seen. I am impressed.
Oh,
And it's a number one.
yeah, number one. I think it's just a 3-issue
I
series.
think it's a
maybe
one. Oh,
4.
was it a 3-issue? It looks
I
like
think.
it says one shot underneath.
Let me
but-
see. What's its? Oh no, it's 6. So I actually only have
Oh,
half
wow.
of it myself. I think I only have 3 issues of this.
That is cool. I love when the two of them team up.
Oh,
Always
8.
did. Yeah, I've always loved when the two of them team up. That period post-crisis where they didn't really like each other
Yeah.
for a bit kind of made it a little difficult, but they still managed to have a couple of them, and I was happy for that.
Kind of Halloween theme: Superman versus aliens. It's pretty. It was entertaining. Let's put it that way. Because I don't know why they mix these two together realistically, but okay. I like aliens. I like Superman.
What was
Let's
the
put it together.
premise? I'm curious. I've never read that.
So it's weird. They combined the alien world from Dark Horse Comics with it just existed with the DC universe. So it's like they basically took one of their colonial marine stories and mashed it up. She comes to Earth type of thing, and Superman has to help them. The aliens are invading, so it's a little weak, but it was one of those things that I think they just said, hey, people like aliens, let's do something together, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I do remember when Dark Horse got the Aliens franchise. One of the
I
things,
got them all.
One of the things I remember reading about it was that in that case, they had to use them or lose them. So they kind of used them as much as possible.
And to go along with that one, here's another one, but it's Superman versus Predator. kind of the same thing. The ultimate hunter coming to Earth, wanting to hunt what he thinks is the main prize. Well, in this case, it's Superman. So
I would think he'd have an easier time with Predator than he would, because the thing that Predator does where he's invisible would not fool Superman.
Yeah.
So
well, I think the xenomorphs, I think he just heat vision them. They just turn into, they'll have the acid in them and stuff, they're great.
All right. A couple more. So here's an Action Comics one that I got. I pulled it just because of a cool cover. I mean, what is this? The Creature Commandos are popular.
Yes, the Creature Commandos team up with Superman during the I believe this was the aftermath of the new Krypton storyline, or were they
so?
involved
Yeah.
The artwork doesn't look like it's quite finished.
Yeah, they didn't do a whole lot in the background, did they, Steven?
No, they sure didn't.
But I liked Medusa there. She's kind of neat looking.
She's the best one drawn. All the rest of them aren't close to her.
No. Very, very generic. This was a new one from a variant cover that came out a couple weeks ago. They're doing a bunch of Halloween covers, and of course this one was top of my list.
Yeah, that's a good one. I should have got. See, my problem is that I decided a long time ago I wasn't buying variants because it would just not waste money.
Yeah, I have certain titles
that I
will.
look at the cover. What?
Her and like Wolverine and I think X-23 are like my main ones that I'll always get a variant cover of them.
But the thing is, I will look at, if I find the variant covers later for cheap, I buy them.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. This is a John Byrne run on Superman.
Yeah, and that was a great story. That is one you actually need 4 or 5 issues to have the whole story because it involves Lois and Jimmy at various.
Yeah, they really sprinkled it through on those issues, which I like. I like it. Makes you want to read them instead of feeling like the story's rushed.
Mm-hmm.
Eric,
I've
by
always
the way,
liked
the guy that's on the cover, the artist, his name is, it's not Kessel, it's Carl Kiesel is how his name is pronounced.
Carl Kiesel? Okay.
Yeah,
Kiesel?
I actually have met him, and he's in the Cortland area, and when it's my turn, I will show you a piece that he did for me.
Okay.
Very cool.
Superman related, but I got it because it's kind of a creepy cover. We got Bizarro fighting Solomon Grundy. And this was actually how many, does it say how many issues? 7-issue series, Solomon Grundy.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, again, another one that I don't remember seeing. That's very cool.
Art was very different for the series. I think every cover is him fighting somebody different. Here's a Supergirl where she's doing some body horror, turning
Yeah.
down
That
a
series is really good. That
robot.
Supergirl 1 through 9, is it, or 1 through 10, Matt?
It's 1 through 10. It was 1 through 9, and then they stopped for over a year.
Did the
And
last
then they
one.
ended up only with issue 10 because they decided they had this story kicking around. They were making Superman Family the next month anyways, so they
Yeah.
issued number 10. That's the one with Prez.
Yeah. Wasn't that after Perez got canceled too?
Yes, Prez was canceled just the month before.
Okay.
Can I tell you when that came out, what all of us collectors said? It was the biggest thumbs down you ever saw.
Really? All right, here's another Blackest
Stinker.
Night one. I like this one because you got the zombie, basically getting ready to prey on the damsel, which is
Yes,
Supergirl.
that is very cool. Now,
And then-
I believe in the Blackest Night that was actually the Kara Zor-El Supergirl because it was later. It was like 2010 or whatever
Yeah.
after she had come back.
Well, here's another one for you, Matt, for Vampires and Werewolves versus Superman Batman. This is number 3. I thought this was a cool cover because all the images in the Batman's cape I thought were kind of cool.
Yes, that looks wicked. I'm gonna have to buy these now. Oh, you
Is
laugh,
that who is the artist for that? It's not McFarlane, is it?
So let's see. I have to pull it up because, of course, you can't read it. Tom Mandrake. That's what.
Oh, Mandrake. Yeah, he's good.
very nice.
Mandrake's good.
So yeah, cool how he used the cape as the backdrop and then put all those like vampires and werewolves. I really like the teeth that are over here. But that is what I had, Matt. So I ran through my whole.
Eric,
Can I
thank
compliment
you.
you on your Supergirl shrine behind you?
Oh, you like that? I just added one too, Steven. I just added her this weekend.
Very cool. My shrine is in various places. I had a shrine, but I had to move stuff to have another place to put comic books. But one of these days, I'll put a picture up of my old Supergirl shrine I had. They're fun. Thank you very much, Eric. And we are going to move now to the very cool Chris, who has one of the reasons I wanted to meet you, Chris, was your name, Cram Bradley, has a Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster reference.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, the first thing that they had published in DC Comics was a feature named Slam Bradley. So when I saw your name, I thought, this guy must know his comic books. Am I right or wrong?
With Detective Comics, I'm pretty good. With Batman, anything Batman related, my knowledge is pretty solid. It combines two things. I'm really big into this. There's this video game Fallout, and there's a food in it called Cram. And I love Batman, but I didn't want to do something directly for him, so I did Slam Bradley instead. So I mashed the two together. So that's how I got the name. But
very cool.
But yes, most of my knowledge is Batman, but I'm starting to expand a little bit. And honestly, I have more Superman now at this point from the Silver Age than I do Batman.
Very cool.
Because you are collecting books from you're collecting DCs, all the DCs from 1960, correct?
Yes, here are some of them. I might expand, but I don't want to get too big for my britches right now. I think I'm going to try and finish out the year. I only have 56 that are just DC. I also have some Charlton books and some Atlas. And
very cool.
I'd like to expand and maybe do Harvey, but I want to stay away from Dell because Dell it's too vast for me. There's too many books.
Well, in 1960 alone, 4-color was still around, right? If I'm correct, Stephen, right?
I think in 1960 it was Gold Key.
No, I don't think it became Gold Key till 62.
Was it 62?
Yeah. So for Dell, I have some of the Rifleman books, and then I have Gun Will Travel. But yeah, no, it was still because I think Gold Key was probably 63 or because Dell, what killed him was, and you probably know this more than me, Stephen, right? Their jump to 15 cents, right? Because it was that long drawn out period for DC and Atlas where they were 10 cents for 60, most of 61 until December. Then they switched to 12 cents. But Dell went right to 15, I think, after they had this.
But Dell was 15 even before. And also they had 25-cent annuals too early on too. A lot of those they were huge with cardboard covers. They had a lot of that, but they were 15 cents when books were 10 cents. And then they dropped it down to 12 to try to be competitive, but it's very interesting. Oh, nice.
So these are both. Oh, wait, Detective. Oh, slipped in the wrong box. This is actually from. Oh, God. This is from.
You had it there for a second.
And it's still. I think 1960 was still 10 cents, but then they went directly to that jump. They had the still 10 cents from 1959, I think, into 60, and then they made that leap.
61, mid 61 was when it happened. And then and I remember when it happened because I was buying books when that did happen.
Yeah.
And they had a full page letter talking about why and hot dogs are more expensive and all this other jazz.
Something similar. DC did something similar in 1976 when they did the explosion. Jeanette Kahn, thank you. Jeanette Kahn became publisher, and she did a letter, and there was a picture of her drawn by Neil Adams in the thing at the bottom, and she was going on about the inflation this, inflation that, but we're going to give you more story pages, so really you're only paying this. It was a funny little thing where she's going, movie tickets go up, bus tickets go, like she's going on and on. Just say we're raising our prices.
You know, guys, I did an article where the first time they went from 10 cents to 12 cents, you got a full page with a heartfelt thing, and we are sorry, and we'll do our best, and we'll let you have subscriptions for 100. You could still get if you subscribed, you could still get them for 10 cents. In other words, you could get 12 issues but then when it went to 15 cents, you got a half page. When it went to 20 cents, you got a quarter page mention. And after 20, it was like, too bad, Joe. And that was it.
Oh,
that's crazy.
Second floor just asked. I was going to type it into the chat. I don't have the wood cover. I was at, so this kind, sorry to segue away from you, Stephen, but this kind of ties. I actually just sent this to him. So I was in Connecticut, and this will be my first Superman book that I'm showing. Well, Lois. I was in Connecticut. I live in Western Mass, so just about as far west as you can get. And I was in the store, and I started seeing all these Silver Age books, and I'd been there before. It was sort of mediocre stock. It was a lot of like 80s, 90s, and I'm like, and I like modern books, but he always had like any Batman book marked up, all this other stuff. I had never had any real luck there. And all the boxes were always picked clean. So I come back and I start seeing all these 10-cent Silver Age issues from the late 50s. And I'm thinking, something's wrong here. He's never had anything this good. And all the issues were like being marked at $10, $5, $10. And they were clean. And I was picking through, and I talked to Steven actually right around the time that this happened. This was in the spring.
Yeah, I said, buy everything you can.
Yeah, and I had gone, and I just been out of a comic show, struck out. I got a couple good issues, nothing major, and I stopped there just on a whim. I'm like, I'll just go in. I'll see what they have. So I go in, and I start seeing these books. I'm like, I only have like $30 on me. I'm like, I'm in a bad spot. So I managed to get a couple books, and through a bunch of trips, I got as many as I could from him. My buddy got Flash 105 from him in mid-grade. I'd say it's probably around a 5.0. And then that same store had first appearance of Supergirl in a 5 or 6.0 that it sold. First appearance of Mr. Freeze in a 7.0.
Very cool.
It was a very good, and all of them are marked. I don't know if you can see right on the top, Pete Lamb. So I don't know who Mr. Lamb is, but he's the reason for all of the issues that I have here.
Original owner collection. That is
Yes.
excellent.
Yes.
We usually call them the pedigree, like the Pete Lamb pedigree on the show.
Yeah, he had about, I think, 100. I don't know how many issues there. The store really irked me because I'm sitting there and he has these really valuable books. He had 105 just sitting on the counter without a bag or board. He had a few of the first Bizarro issues, no bag and board. He had third appearance of Flash and Showcase, no bag or board. And I'm sitting across from the counter. I'm like, you have all these $10 issues bagged up, and you're sitting across. Oh God, it irked me. Anyhow,
Well, what was he charging full freight for those? I'm assuming he was charging full freight.
I think he charged $750 for the 105. He charged. It was weird. So the minor keys are just like the regular run-of-the-mill filler books, like that lowest. Well, that's a mild key. He had all of those at $10. I walked up to him.
Beautiful.
I was like, I felt, I don't know. I had that, part of my brain. I'm like, I need to question. I'm like, I feel really bad because I'm walking out here. I'm like, all these books. I'm like, you could get a lot. I mean, I don't want you to get more money out of me, but you could. And so I walked up to him and he said $10. I'm like, okay. So I'll show some of those right now. One of the books, actually, I talked to Steven about. Some of the keys he would have priced either at fair market or well above. So with the big books, but this was the guy who had the, what's that Atlas issue with the, I think it's Strange Tale. No. It's from the early 50s. It's a pre-cord horror book. I think Strange Tales 23. Alan just posted a sale for it on his YouTube channel. But a guy walked in with that, and he said he'd offer him $5 for it. He had said it was a $5. He said, I wouldn't. It's not worth much. It's not. And I saw him from across there. I'm like, there's no way I'll let this guy walk out with it. I didn't end up buying it, but anyhow. So he had a Superman Annual 1 there. This isn't that copy. He had it priced way too high.
Very beautiful.
Yeah.
This is rough. I got this from my buddy, Chow Comics, and he had this and a couple other ones, and he said, hey, I don't want these. Just pay shipping, and I'll send them to you. And I was like, I saw this book, and I'm like, for 1960, this is a big one, and I don't really want to overpay for it. So I got that. This I did pick up from that comic book store. And some of the conditions on the Pete Lamb books are all right, but in general, the colors are very, very rich on them.
Yeah.
That is a beautiful shape. That one's gorgeous.
The color strike on that is outstanding.
Yeah. Well, and my buddy always talks about purple can be a tough.
Yeah.
They are completely.
They are. My copy of Superman 213 has some break. I have to buy another one. It's a purple cover, and there's some areas that the purple is gorgeous, but by the spine, there's spine ticks and some full the bend marks there.
Yeah.
And the purple loses a bit when it comes like that. It's too bad.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, these books were usually very well read, and he clearly cared about all of these books. I don't want to speak out of turn because I don't know who he was really, but the rumor I'd heard from the comic store owner was he might have been a hoarder because his wife seemed pretty keen on getting rid of them. I don't know if he was in a home or what happened to him quite, but she was the one who sold the books. I hope she got a good price on them because otherwise all those books that she had were, stellar. So this is another one that I have. Sorry.
One of my favorites.
If you turn them to a 30-degree angle, then you can get it. If you want to just turn it a 30-degree angle from your face, you then just turn it 30, then you're all right.
Yeah, I think this might.
I love the fact that they have that story, and then there's a follow-up story where she goes to the Kents and she really wants to be adopted by them. Like, I just love. I bought that other one. I think that one's from '61 though. The one I'm thinking of.
Oh yeah,
the second one.
I've gotten to the point now where whenever I go to shows, I'm only looking for 60 books. I pick up other things, but it's hard. I mean, a lot of shows just really don't have anything because that year is a little bit of a tough one. These are two new books. I just got them in the stack. I'm going to get them out of the way.
Chris,
So,
can I tell you that even as a kid, books from 1960 were old. Because in 63, 64, no one was collecting them. No one had them
yeah,
unless they had older brothers and sisters.
to hand them down.
And then they would hand them down. But, for us, like 63, 64, way back to 1959, 1960, it was really something.
Yeah, and I don't know, the earliest book in that collection that I bought it was Challenges of the Unknown #2, which I think is
59, I think.
I think it's either 58. Well, that lowest is 58. So I think that was the bottom part of when he started. So he started in 58. He picked up one of the early showcases for Flash, the third one.
Mm-hmm.
And then he picked up Flash #1. He had the Fat Flash cover, a couple other books. And then I think he stopped right around the price increase because there wasn't any books past 10 cents, like past the when they had that colored box
Right.
over 10 cents.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are my two newer books. This I got, I can't remember, like $3. Oh no, $1. It's a
The Jim Lee. Very nice.
little bit of a rough cover, a little bit of a beat up copy, but this is
considering that I paid $20 for my copy of that, you probably did very well
Yeah.
getting it.
I had there's
You
a
still read it.
Yeah, there's a comic book store in Springfield, which is about an hour away from me. I'm kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and usually I don't find anything good there, but I got lucky and I found that. This is
Although
not
the good thing is for me, it was $20 Canadian, so
Yeah.
$14 for you guys, but
Yeah.
still, it was.
This is not a Superman title, but it is a great Superman story. I just gave it a read right before the show. Garth
Mhm.
Ennis gets hated on a lot for his Superman, not for his Superman, for his superhero hate, but he really gives a lot of respect to the character in this story. And
Now, hold that one up for a second again.
yes,
Okay. Eric, do you remember our pre-conversation about how I always thought had everything, and then I'd find out there was another Supergirl
No,
book?
yeah.
Well, I've never heard of this one, so now I have to go find it because it's a Superman book from the post-crisis I don't have.
Well, me and Chris succeeded tonight then.
Yes.
it's a really good read. It's not to spoil anything, but it's basically Superman goes to Gotham in a really poor mood after one of his, well, it's not really an adventure. Basically, things went awry, and he's in a really sour mood, and he ends up on this rooftop with Hitman, and they have a conversation. It's really good. It's a short read, but I had heard about it because people always talk about Garth Ennis' superhero hate, but he's showed respect for Superman on multiple occasions.
Very cool.
Here's another. This is actually in the original bag. You can
I
see
like that.
This is a good book.
Yeah.
You can see the $10 right there.
Yeah. I paid $2.
It looks good though. That looks really nice. The white
Mine does
really
not
white.
look good. Mine does not look good. Yeah.
I got really. This one I actually, when people always say if you pass on a book, you don't know if it's going to be there. That's usually true, but I got lucky. I passed on this one like twice.
Exactly.
Like,
That's
wow,
why I own
got it.
That's why I own a $2 copy of that book, because I never know when I'm going to see it again, and I'm trying to get the run.
Yeah.
So,
That one because it was like out of the Pete Lamb books, that was like one of the rougher ones. So I was like, oh, I'm not sure, I could spend it on these other ones. So that's what I ended up doing. But then I came back, and now there's like, I think 7 books left in that store from when I was there. Here's again.
Are they targets, or are you passing on them?
One of them I think I could get for better than the price he has on it. I think it's about $70, and it's an all right key, but I think usually whenever I go there, I'm like, I don't want to drop money. So I always avoid it. But the thing is the area that it's in, if somebody was really motivated and they wanted to go there, they could, but it's in a rural area. So they don't get a whole lot of, I don't think, silver comic movement. I think most of the stuff they sell is Marvel. So I get lucky.
May I say that if you go to the conventions and you're not finding that stuff, and this guy has it, then what you want to do is look the book over real carefully. And I also find that cash talks. Credit cards don't talk as strongly as cash
Yeah.
money.
No.
And if you merged a few books that he has that you want, and then make him an offer, and then flash the green, I have found that works.
Yeah, I honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I've looked up. One of them is that Origin of Lex Luthor Retold. It's that Superboy book, I think, or Adventure. It's the purple cover. It's Superman running up, and it's Lex Luthor in an orb. I think you probably know that one, Matt.
Of course,
I mean,
yeah, and
yeah.
he's slugging a big meteor of kryptonite.
So I think he
Kryptonite,
had that at maybe $85, and I'm not sure.
What's the grade?
From looking at it, oh, well, yeah, it's about mid, I would say. The purple,
Like a 6?
probably low mid, probably like, I'd probably say like 4 out of 5.
Now that book, because of that dark blue cover that it has, if it has a beautiful color strike, then that's, to me, that makes a difference.
Yeah.
Because you can structurally have a book of higher grade, but if the cover's faded, it just, to me, it doesn't sing. It's got to be pretty. So anyway, it's hard to tell. But if you're not finding that stuff, because if you ordered it on eBay or my comic shop, you're going to have to pay the postage to get it to you anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think I might venture down there and snag up the rest of them.
Merge a few books and have cash money. Believe me, you're speaking their language.
Yes.
Another one of my favorite ones.
And I do love this cover with
You know,
Nice
Supergirl.
cover.
Like, go away, old man.
yeah. I always get a kick out of this. And again, you have I really got lucky with these Supergirl covers. There wasn't one that I need. That one with you guys were just talking about it, you and Steven, I think maybe a week or so ago, with the tree. She's holding up the tree, and there's the bit of kryptonite, and she thinks she's immune to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a 60 book, if I'm correct, and I need to pick up that one. But he didn't have that when I was.
That would be 60 because she was invented in May. She made her debut in May 59.
Yes.
And that one is definitely within the first 15 to 20 stories. So if it's not 59, it's 60.
Yes, it is. I think it's very early 60. I think it might be around February or so.
Anything between 59 and 62, she's the secret weapon. She hasn't been introduced to the world yet.
Yeah, she gets introduced in that cover where she's flying through the.
Yes, that's
city, right,
a
with the banner.
1962 book. It's Action Comics 2 for 285.
Yes, and that's part of the reason I want to expand maybe around 64. But this one really blew my mind when I saw
Another
it.
white cover that looks nice.
Yeah, I'd seen it in the box, and I was like, I'm like, how much do you want for it? And he's like, $10. I'm like, oh, okay.
Wow.
Let me pick up.
That's beautiful.
So I
Yeah,
grabbed that.
you're doing great. That's another Lamb book, right?
Yes, yeah, these are all. So everything I've showed you, obviously, besides the modern stuff, that's all been Pete Lamb. He was really careful with all of his books, and they were all stored in not the best situation. Actually, they were all stored in, I think, like butcher boxes, stacked on top of each other.
Well, my understanding was until comic boxes came along, people used butcher boxes for their comics. Am I correct, Stephen?
They use paper bags. They use cardboard boxes. They used anything that they could. Seriously, anything they could put them in. I bought one collection of Golden Age books that the kid kept them in a burlap bag.
Wow.
And it was the burlap bag collection. It was crazy. Some really early fiction houses. I mean, like Good Girl fiction houses with Bob Louver covers. And my buddy said, and I bought all she had. And then my buddy said, ask her for the burlap bag. And so I said, could I get the burlap bag? She said, no.
No, I do remember reading in his blog that he used to write that Chuck Rosansky used to carry all his comics in butcher boxes until he could get his hands on real comic boxes. So I figured that was a standard thing back then.
Yeah, and I think the issue more with how they were stored was maybe where they were stored. But I mean, the way they turned out, I'm happy regardless. This isn't a Pete Lamb book. This is from my buddy Michael, Silver Age on Instagram.
I love that cover.
That's a great cover. I love gorilla covers.
Yep.
I hate
So
that
do they.
Yeah,
I know. I hate that I fall for the hype, but damn it, they're fun.
gorilla sells. This was another Pete Lamb. Again, sometimes he would have things for sale at that store where I'm like, this, you should have this a lot. This was only $20.
That was
That's a great
one of
price.
my absolute favorite books of all time is when I was a kid because it had all the origins in it.
Yeah.
And it was one of my absolute favorite books. And that was one of the ones that my mother threw away.
Oh,
Everything I collected from 1959 up to 1964 was thrown away. And then I started again in late 64, early 65. And that's when I had to start over again.
Yeah. Honestly, I wish I could blame somebody for all my childhood comics being demolished, but it was my own fault. I read them to shreds because we didn't have any comic book stores near me. And I think, well, I know I'm the youngest person on the stream right now. I think I'm the youngest person you've probably had on. I'm only 21. So when I was a kid, there was no comic book stores near me. There was one about 40 minutes away, another one 50. And since this is the 2000s, there's no spinner racks or anything like that. I couldn't pick up comics at the grocery store or at a gas station or anything like that. So I really relied on the few incremental trips I would take to Northampton, which is near me, and Pittsfield, which is also near me. And that was sort of, I'd have to beg my mom to take me up to Pittsfield, take me up to Northampton, and it was always a slog. But that was how I got my books when I was a kid.
TM.
But here's another Pete Lamb.
Yeah, they think it's in their DNA.
God, that's a beautiful book.
Yeah,
God.
it is.
And look at the color transition. That you have absolute full color on that book. I've never seen a nicer copy of that one.
I would agree. I've only seen like ratty copies of that.
There's a Jimmy Olsen copy that I have. So I have every Jimmy Olsen book from 1960. That just worked out because for some reason Pete Lamb really liked Jimmy and had about every issue except for 2 that I had to buy online.
In 1960, everybody loved Jimmy.
But this copy, the part that got
That's
me...
Superman 123.
Just about, yeah.
Yeah. The part that got me was the water down here.
Yeah.
The way that...
I can see all the purples and blues merging together. And yeah.
And the reflection.
That is just gorgeous.
Felt. That's good. That's a good artist.
Yeah, no, I mean, and it gave me more of an appreciation for Jimmy. I don't really care for Jimmy later on as much, but I really like. And then this was another 50s issue that he had, and this one with the yellows is really, really, really gorgeous.
Very cool.
Yeah, issue 35. I don't know how much more time you want to give me. I can move on.
How many more books have you got?
I got a lot in here, so I'll do. How about 5 more? Is that good?
Certainly, we'll go 5 more. That's perfect.
I'll probably dry up most of my 1960 collection. I'll have to go on eBay after this, but let's see.
It's beautiful stuff. It's beautiful stuff,
absolutely.
man.
I'll get out some Lois for K Munin. I've heard
you are picking up very quickly what we do.
So this Lois,
I have a gorgeous copy of that one. I really do.
Yours, I can promise, is nicer than mine. There are some marks on this that
no, but the color strike is beautiful.
Yeah, the green and the dress look really nice.
Yeah, no, I got really, because whenever I find Lois or Jimmy in the wild, they're usually always shredded.
Well, I find that the people that like Lois and Jimmy to the point where they read their books to death.
Oh,
yeah, that's true.
And I do have another Lois too for K. This is a 1960 book.
I have a really beautiful one of that one too. I love that one.
No, I
like the buildings in the background.
I did too. It's 1960. I think I chose it because It's the last year of 10 cent without that. Something about that square bothers the hell out of me on the 61 books.
But they did that for a very specific reason. They wanted to
Accentuate
bring
it.
your attention to the fact about the price.
Yes.
It was 10 cents, still 10 cents, big box 10 cent,
Yes.
big box 12 cents.
Yes.
Yes. And I'm growing to like it because a lot of these books that I really like the first General Zod, I've grown to love the adventure books more and more as I've seen them, the Superboy books, everything like that. Oh, what did he say?
He said they like Jimmy and Lois because they're clearly hitting the head and not thinking right.
I had 2 concussions as a kid. There's probably some truth to that fact. So there's another book. Now this book, one of these looks beautiful, but there's a page detached. I don't think it's this one. I had it with 2 of the Pete Lamb books. I just think from age. One was the Challengers issue, which I sold. I also had, what's the issue right before first? Is it 251? For
The old man cover?
The old
I
man
had that one, and I sold that one off, but that had no issues either. That was in pretty great shape.
I would say that if you have a loose page, I would not sell them if they look that nice, if it were me.
Yeah. The Challengers, I think I was in a spot. I'm like, I can get rid of this. I don't mind Challengers. I think they're neat. I like the Kirby.
The early ones are Kirby. Yeah, they're really
Yes.
cool. And that's who the Fantastic Four was fashioned after.
Yes. Well, here's another one with really good yellows from the Pete Lamb. Oh,
well, I don't have that one.
Do you know why the Human Torch ended up in the Fantastic Four, Stephen?
Why the Fantastic Four ended up in the why?
Why Human Torch?
Because they had the Human Torch as a character from Marvel Comics #1.
But more importantly, his copyright was coming up. They had to use him again.
Oh, well, that's very, very good. I didn't know that.
Back in the day, you guys had 28-year copyrights or something like that. You had to use them again to get another 28 years.
Well, here's some Superboy. You know what? Here's some adventure because I know you like adventure. So I'll flip through these. And then
oh my God! Was that Bigfoot? Did I just see Bigfoot on a teeter totter?
So this was. Oh, I don't know why I did this. I could have bought the. So I had bought this copy on eBay because I didn't want to go down to Connecticut and buy the other one, and this one is really shot. So now I'm kicking myself. I wish I'd. But
Bigfoot on the teeter totter.
Oh my God! I gotta write it down.
What's the number on that one?
It is 274. Cover date July 1960.
274. I'll put that on right next to my other ones.
The spine on this is just.
I don't think I've ever seen that one. So
I don't think I've seen that either, to be honest.
Wow. That is awesome.
This was a Pete Lamb book. Some of these I haven't checked to see if he made his mark on them or not. But
wow, look at the colors! Holy cow!
Yeah,
gorgeous. That is brilliant.
This is actually one where the bag really does it a disservice.
Yeah,
because I kept it in his. He didn't mark it, but it is one of his books.
Huh.
I think he was selective with how he did it, but and the pages are in pretty good shape too.
Congo Rilla.
But no, I need to buy some more Mylars. Unfortunately, they don't show up on. Well, I'm bad.
Amazon will bring them to you. Amazon will bring them to your door.
I gotta order some myself.
That's
nice.
That's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah, no, all the adventure issues he had a good amount of adventure too. Adventure, Superboy, and Jimmy, I think he had the most of, and action. And then you know what? I'll call this. This will be my last. Actually, I got one Superboy. That'll be my last after this. But this one,
I love that one. That's a great one.
That's a great one too.
God, look at the edges. Look at the edges, and look how clean the black is.
Yeah, they're black.
Honestly, the issues of Adventure Comics from 250 up, gorgeous.
Yeah,
a lot of them are very good, and I mean, there are decent issues before that, like the first Crypto and all that, but some of the issue covers were hit and miss. But once we get to about 250, they're awesome.
God,
And
the color strikes on this, they were kept in a cool, dry, dark place. Obviously, they were, and there's no moisture. I can see there's not a rimple in them. They're just gorgeous, man. You really, you score.
really hit the ball. Wow.
I'm telling you, when you were describing this to me, I said, buy everything.
Yeah, I got ridiculously lucky with these books. This is the one that has a detached page in it.
That doesn't matter one bit.
Doesn't matter looking at it.
It's one, and you can see a little bit past, but I think it was just overaged. Because in general, the staples are attached to all the covers. I mean, everything's fine with that, but I just had like, and it's not just one. It's just like they come out. I think actually it might have been the centerfold. But
that is not uncommon because the staples that they used, a lot of times when the staples would go in, they didn't get a proper this sounds terrible, proper penetration.
Yes,
and you know how it is when you don't get proper penetration, right? You get
a lousy comic book.
You get a lousy funny book, yeah.
All right. Well, Stephen has asked to go to be the grand finale tonight, so I will take a few minutes, show off some quick Superboys from the Silver Age that I pulled because I thought they were cool covers. I took out ones that I've shown before that I think I've shown before, so hopefully the ones I'm showing tonight are new for everybody from my collection. This is number 132, which, of course, this is why I say I need more Mylars and stuff because I didn't have the bags to change them today, and I feel bad about that.
Oh.
But anyway, this is the hero who was braver than Superboy. It's another one of those stories where the kid was dying and Superboy made him look like he was a hero. You know, Superboy was always the nicest kid. And here's another Go-Go check, Superboy 133, another Super Baby story where they talk about his first foster parents, where the Kents weren't fast enough to go get him, so they were number 2 at first. And the parents didn't know what to expect with the Super Baby.
How'd they get out of it?
They returned them. Back then, you had a
returned them.
Oh, seriously.
You had a return, 14-day approval.
I got my receipt.
No, there was. at least in Superboy's state, whatever Smallville was in back then, they were like, "Oh, we couldn't handle them. Here we go." I mean, you're talking about a period. If you look at the Supergirl stories,
Kansas,
all the kids are trying to get adopted. They're like, "Oh, they'll adopt me when they see how good I am at the flute," like that kind of thing.
Well, Linda Danvers was a loser. No one would adopt her. No, it was in Kansas, Matt.
Oh, it was in Kansas still then? Okay. 134. This is Superboy 134, where he's the brat of Scoundrel of Steel, and he's breaking up everything. But extra, Crypto's first romance.
Oh, God. Did I tell you I got Bizarro Crypto, the first appearance of Bizarro Crypto?
You did actually show that, I thought, the other week.
No, I haven't got it yet. It's going to have to get a clean...
picture. I think you sent me a picture that you got it. Like, I'm sure, I know I've seen it recently. Superboy 136, still in the Go-Go Check era. I love all these statues that are of kryptonite. How they found that much kryptonite without actually traveling to Krypton, I don't know. I figure
look at Crypto's super suit.
I know, it's hilarious. I guess even Superboys, sometimes go out and buy their dogs clothes. They're not immune.
I bet that's the only time he ever had that. I'll bet you that's the only time he ever had that.
This one here is 137, The Mystery of the Mighty Might. This was another con man story. It was that was pretty common during the Superboy era. Whether it was, I guess although con men still exist today, I swear they must have really been around in the 30s because Superboy seems to encounter them all. And this one is one of my favorites from this era. This is Superboy 140, where all the bad guys are discussing how they're going to kill Superboy, and they're doing bets on, I bet you he can't escape the kryptonite that we put there and save the train in time, you know.
Well, it's the same thing as the Superman Flash race. They were betting on that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this was these guys were doing crimes and they were betting on could Superboy stop them or not. And it was kind of terrible. And of course, you know, he wins in the end, right? So Superboy 143. This is down and away. Superboy having a big fall. Now, I looked it up and I didn't see that this was a Neil Adams cover.
I was gonna say, was that Neil Adams?
No, but I didn't see it on his list.
Huh.
But it has so many of the telltale signs that it's him, and it would be one of the earliest ones he would have done for Superboy.
Interesting.
Guys,
Superboy never had heels on his boots. Did you ever notice that?
That's right. He got heels later in some of the Superman comics. But again, I think that was different artists taking liberties. This is Superboy 144, where there's two Clark Kents. Superboy's stolen identity. We're back to Kurt Swan with this one. And then I think the last three I have are Neil Adams. This is 145. This is the issue where Superboy's parents end up accidentally taking a ray from aliens or a potion of some sort that turned them young again for that period they were young.
Yeah, that's a good. I like that storyline.
Yeah, and they have to con it's because there's another planet doing a Truman Show type thing with Earth, that the Earth is the TV show, is the setting for their TV show, and they thought having younger parents made more sense for Superboy, and then they had to come up with a story. They had to make another couple young so that they could cover up why they turned young. It was so weird.
Who was the writer of that one? Who wrote that story? Otto Binder?
No, I'd have to look it up. Let's see if it's listed in the book here. Sometimes they were in this era.
Matt, who was your favorite writer from the Silver Age for Superman? Or Superboy?
Superman? It's hard to call. A lot of them aren't identified. I definitely like when Jerry Siegel came back and wrote some stuff for the Legion. I also liked where, there's no credits on this one. So I'd have to look it up. But in a lot of cases, Mort Weisinger came up with the plots and everything, and he'd basically give them to somebody to write and say, do this way. Basically, he came up with everything but the actual writing.
Oh.
Interesting.
Okay, and the next one is my favorite one out of all the ones I've been showing. This is the last one I'm going to show today. This is Superboy 147, which, of course, for those that are in the know, it's the first time the Legion got an origin story. This is an 80-page giant with all Legion reprints, with the exception of the origin story. That was new, but it was cool. For those that don't know, the three original members all men are traveling together with super billionaire RJ Brand, and they save his life. And RJ is so grateful for it that he funds and asks the kids to create a superhero club. And that's how the Legion founded. So those are what I have for tonight. So let's go to our man, Stephen.
I'm the end.
Bring us home, Stephen.
I am an end. There's something naughty about that. I don't know. I have Princess Projectra right there.
Oh, you received it. Awesome.
I have Harley. I have the Spirit, but as a brunette with the Spirit there, and there's Skinny. There is Dream Girl, Supergirl, Shadow Lass, Phantom Girl, Saturn Girl, and I have others. Here,
now, just a quick question with regards. Most of those Legion ones were done by Rad recently, right?
Yes. He was doing one, and I said, I'll take it. And then I said, can you do Supergirl? I have some other Supergirls too. He basically was raising money for the comics curing cancer.
Right.
And so he had a fish on the line. The fish The fish was a Stephen Gentneri, and he is a sucker for the bait, man. He goes right for the salmon eggs every single time. So I said, I really like the Legion gals. He said, which ones do you like? And so I have had a succession of them. Oh, here's the other one I was going to show you. And Rad did Supergirl in Crypto.
Very cool. Very cool.
And I also have Power Girl.
Oh, yeah.
Good boob window.
And the reason she had a boob window was because she didn't know what her L name was. Cal L, House of L. And S stands for faith or love or persistence or hope. And she didn't know what she had, so she had to have her enormous breasts exposed. And everyone said, we hope you never find out who you are. And then we said other things too, but this is a family program. I had mentioned to you Carl Kiesel. I met Carl, and in about 2016, I said, could you do a Power Girl for me? He said, I'd be happy to. And so he did the Power Girl, and there was very little inking on it. There was no accenting at all. And I said, Carl, could you please just give me a little something? He says, oh, I know what you want. Then I always feel like a perv, but he had come up with this concept, and I thought it was really cute. Crypto's pulling her cape.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, that's cute.
That is very cute.
Isn't that fun? So those are those. And I will start with this. I saw that purple cover that you showed that was so beautiful. I have one that this book came from a collection I bought years ago. A guy called me up from Excalibur Books here in Portland, and he said, you're the only guy I know. And then, of course, the minute he says, as I said, I must have sucker written right across my forehead. He says, you're the only guy I know that would have any interest in a complete set of Rex the Wonder Dog. And I said, well, I don't know. And I didn't know what he was going to say. Why do you think I want Rex the Wonder Dog? But I do like Detective Chimp, and that is Carmen Infantino, and I love Infantinos. Okay. Plus, Alex Toth did Rex, and Alex Toth ain't no slouch either. No. So I said, how much was it? I think for the entire set, it was like, I think $2,000 or something like that, the complete set. And I said, and I was flush at the time, and I said, all right, I'll do it. Well, fast forward about 4 weeks, I got a call. He said, Steve, I got some really nice silver DC in. And because you bought Rex the Wonder Dog, I'm going to give you first crack at it. And so I got a beautiful Superman 123, beautiful Metal Men 1, Metal Men 2. I got Second Secret Origins Annual. I got all 3 showcase appearances of Adam Strange, another of my favorites. I got, but the big one was this one.
Oh my God!
And I saw the color strike on this. I have seen various copies of this book. I have never seen one as nice as this one.
Wow.
And so when you showed that purple, when you talk about purples, they are problematic. And by the way, the 3rd showcase appearance of Flash is the torpedo cover going across. It has the skull and crossbones on the nose, chasing the Flash on the water. I have a raw copy of that one that I bought from Metropolis years ago, a 9.0 raw copy, 9.0. I just saw in my comic shop they have an 8.0 slabbed that they're asking for $29,750 or best offer.
Wow.
And I went, whoa. So And then I also have a number 14, which is the purple cover that has him going through the hourglass, which is a great cover. And then you go on to 105. But I wanted to say this to you, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about I'm so big on this. Targets of opportunity present themselves very seldom. And in my lifetime, I've had maybe 8 or 9. That's in like 60 years of collecting. And when I talk about, well, I had this find or I had this find, they said, God, Gentner gets a find every week he's getting these finds and he's getting all these books. That isn't true. I had desert periods. I had desert periods all the way through where there was nothing to buy. I go to cons with money in my pocket and I come home with money. There was nothing to buy.
Yeah.
And that's a drag. So when books present themselves, then you have to figure that if they're nice, like what the collection you're talking about, that's why I tried to make it as strongly as I could. Get everything, because even if you think you want it, get it. Because in 6 months or a year from now, you're going to be laughing, man. You're going to say, God, I'm glad I did that. Yeah. So, because, you'll get, a lot of people have money. Not very many people have the books, especially books that are beautiful like that. You really score. I have a couple of original owner collections of my early DCs as well. I have 2 or 3 guys that collected. And when I had a chance, my Flash collection is original owner collection, my entire Flash run, 105 up to whatever it is. And I bought those from Richard Evans in Bedrock City. Anyway, I tell these stories, but it's a matter of when you have a target of opportunity. When I went to the only San Diego Comic-Con, I had all my money ready to go. I walked down one aisle, one chunk, took a left-hand turn, and there was all these beautiful Fiction House, Standard Needor books. Nelson Dodd was his name, and these were the Ohio collection copies. It was an unbelievable collection. And I said, now I know that I am not going to find better than this. And sometimes at a convention, and what I would do is if I'd see something beautiful, I say, well, it's the beginning of the con. I'll come back later and try to beat them up a little bit on the price and try to be frugal and, be cheap, basically. And I come back and, of course, the books are gone. Because people, you only get, a lot of times you get one shot. So after that, I did that a couple times. I said, that's it, brother. No more. So I will hold on to those books. I mean, I have guys standing behind me, breathing on my neck. I said, are you going to take that? You're going to take that? I said, well, I haven't made up my mind yet. Quit breathing on me.
I know.
And so then and then the other thing about it is this, and Chris, I hope you do this. And again, I can't stress this enough. I understand a comic dealer, they need money, always they need money. Yeah. And a credit card, they got to do all this, but cash is rather invisible. And so if you lump some books together and then get like a 30% discount, shoot for a 35% discount, and then say, I'll pay you cash. And then open your wallet. Okay. I mean, that works. And if this guy doesn't like that, then he's not wired correctly, because I've never seen a time when that didn't work. But targets of opportunity present themselves. And
I've seen it not work once.
What's that?
I've seen it not work once. That guy who I tried to buy the 252 off of and wouldn't knock $50 off the price, and then sold it behind my back when I went to get more cash. Wow! I threw $800 cash on the table and said, "You can have this right now, if I can have the book." And he said, "No, it's $850. I want $850." Wouldn't move.
That you're dealing with a recalcitrant man, a seller, because 99 times out of 100, that would do it.
Yeah.
But and if it doesn't, well, then the guy's an asshole, and you don't want that stupid book anyway.
Well,
pardon me. I take it back. He is a person I would not deal with. How's that?
Well, I won't. I would. The only reason I dealt with him was because he had the 252 I wanted 10 years ago. At $800 was a chance at a 5.0.
You did very well indeed, my friend.
Oh, I know. I'm not saying I did.
You are so blessed. You are so blessed. and I couldn't be happier for you for what happened for both the 252 and the First Legion. I mean, that is that manna from heaven. That's because you're a good guy.
Yes.
You're a good guy. All right, so I don't think so, but he did anyway. So here,
You got to throw in that bar. Throw in that
I can't lay out all these
you know-
flowers and everything, make you feel good.
Real
Screw
quick.
that. Okay,
You got to
That
throw in a
story
rose.
was
with it.
written by Otto Binder.
I'll look in my auto binder, OTTO binder. Okay.
Yes.
Here is Action Comics number 163 from December of 1951. It has a Win Mortimer cover, and inside we've got Wayne Boring, Stan Kay, Kurt Swan, Ed Smalley, and Bob Brown. Bob Brown did a lot of the Space Ranger. Bob Brown was a stud, and he was in the Air Force in World War II, and he was with Curtis LeMay. I think he has 6 or 8 air medals for bravery.
Wow.
Because what he did was he had real quick. I'm sorry, B-29s would be up way high where the Japanese fighters couldn't get to them. But when they would drop the bombs, the stacking effect of air going up the side of Mount Fuji, basically the bombs would be they'd drift all over everywhere. They couldn't get any proper aiming going on. The air currents blew everything up. So then what he said was, fine. And they had basically napalm, thermite, and they basically then came low-level incendiary flights, and that's how they took out Tokyo. That's why they call him Bombs Away LeMay. But he was with him. He was one of the guys in Kurt LeMay's B-29s that took out in Tokyo. The guy was a huge hero. So was Ken Bald. So anyway, but this one is Action Comics 163. And it has the girl of tomorrow. What happens when the man of tomorrow meets the girl of tomorrow? And she says, "Wait, Superman, my ability to read minds tells me that you're Clark Kent. So unless you agree to marry me, everybody wants to marry this clown. Don't they know that Kryptonians have just about this?" Okay, anyway, you're Clark Kent. The whole world will learn your secret. And he says, "Shazam, I got to do what she tells me to do." Well, of course, if he had any balls, he would irradiate her and throw her body into the middle of the ocean or into the Arctic. No one would ever know. I guess my secret's safe.
Based on the Christopher Reeve Superman, I'd say he had balls.
The kiss of memory loss, right?
Yeah.
I looked at that. I said, wait a minute. I've read Superman. What's that?
Oh,
He
some of
sucked,
the
her,
powers,
he sucked her brain out through her
Don't
mouth.
forget
Okay.
the best power of all, pulling off his emblem and throwing it at them.
Yeah, that was a good one. I like that. Have him wrap it all up. As I said, I never saw that one before. And then they had Marlon Brando, the planet Krypton. No, it's Krypton, you jackass. No, the planet Krypton. Oh, Clark, you are guilty.
I had to teach myself how to say Krypton so that you'd stop bothering me about it.
I'm sorry. I bought this book when I bought Star Spangled Comics number 1 and 2.
Ooh.
Both of those books went away when I got my Detective 31. Those were part of the trade that I did with Yaniv. But one book I wouldn't get rid of, and it has the first appearance of the Star Spangled Kid in Stripesy, and it's Action Comics number 40. And it's just a pre-war for us, and he's fighting Germans. So
Foreshadowing.
And this one is from September of 1941, so it's probably like August or late July of 41. Of course, the Battle of Britain was over by then because the Germans invaded Poland in September of 1939. That's when it started.
Battle of Britain was September 40.
Yeah.
September of 40, and it ended on what it ended on a special event. They had a name for it. Do you remember what that was, Matt?
Oh no, but I know they have the Battle of
Eagle
Britain.
Day,
Eagle Day?
Adlertag.
Okay.
Adlertag, and that's when they had 1,000 machines in the air between the two of them. And I have a print from Woolsey or whatever his name is, and it was in 1990, and all the living aces of the Battle of Britain, Bunny Current and all these other guys, they had a thing to raise money for the RAF hospital for all the indigent widows and orphans from the RAF and all the guys that lost, to take care of them. And so they all signed the bottom of this. They have spaces and they have with their names, and all of the aces signed this picture. And it's the picture of a Hawker Hurricane taking off. The Spitfire gets all the jam, but it was the Hurricane that was the thing that it made the difference, because until the Spitfire could come into effect with the wing structure, the racing plane, what they did was, once the Spitfire came in, the Spits went after the 109s, and then the Hurricanes went into the bomber formations and just shot them to pieces. They had 830s. They had four. It was a very rigid gun platform, and they shot the hell out of the Henkels. And the ME-110s. They shot the Stukas. They shot them to pieces. I watched Yaniv on Alan's show when he had his pop-up. And the first one I saw, Alan it was the Friday before this, he had shown this book where someone got a hell of a deal. It's the same grade as this one, and didn't look that great, but it looked pretty good. But then he had this one that I got for an even better price with the beautiful color strike on it. This is my mantra: buy the book and not the label, because it has the spine. It has troubles on the spine. I don't care, because there's no chunks out. Yeah. And the pages not. But look at the color strike on this.
Yes, and you'd have to say that when that book comes around, there's probably slim pickings.
Yeah.
Very,
very nice.
And I do understand what you're saying. Boy, a feller could have a good time in town with all this survival stuff we got. $300, chocolate bars. God, a fella could have a lot of fun on this. This was the first. I bought this from, Richard Muchin of New York, Richie Muchin. And he called it a 9. It was a raw book. And I sent it into CGC right when I got it, because I wanted to protect it. So it was like around 2001 or something. Wow. 2000, 2004, something like that. And it's been one of my favorite covers, and it is Superman number 32 from February of 1945.
Wow. Hi, Bleak.
I can't tell you what it is, Bleeker. Wow. This is a family program. I'll tell you later. I'll write you a letter. The Canada Post will deliver it. This has white pages as well.
Wow.
Then I had Yaniv had found for me, which was really hard. I collected Batman because I wanted to have a DC title, and I like Batman. I like Superman a lot, and I have Supermans, as you can see. But I concentrated early on with Batman because I like Batman better as a character. The early Superman I like just about as much, but I figured, I can't do both. I can't do both. So I said, it's going to be Batman. The hardest book to get that always I couldn't get was number 9, which is the Spotlight cover. Mm-hmm. And so Yaniv found me one, a 5.0. It's just a beautiful book. And so it was not cheap. It weren't cheap. And the guy that had it, he said, I never thought the guy would sell them because he was a stickler for cover colors, which is right up my street. And so he ended up getting this book from him, and I had to choke to get the book. I wanted to trade him a book, but Yaniv had done some other deal and he needed the cash, so I had to come up with the money. So I had an All-American number 22 in 7.0 that was with white pages that I bought favorably. And I said, would you take this to San Diego and sell it? And he said, I'll do it. Hi, Biggie. Will you sell this for me? He said, I'll do it. Now, of course, what he did then is this. He said, okay, I'm about ready to go. Is there anything that you want? Well, I'm down here. And I said, well, not really. I don't know. Well, there's one Superman book that I really like. I would love to get a nice copy, but I don't want just any copy. I want a nice copy. He said, oh, I know what you want. And I went, oh, God. And so he sold my All-American 22, which is the 5th appearance of Green Lantern. And I think the 4th appearance of the Atom. Yeah, really, really great. All-American Comics is very good. And so then he sold that. And I got this Superman number 23.
Oh my God.
With an absolutely perfect cover. And it's also a white pager.
Biggie, now's your chance to say I have that.
Yeah, well, I knew that Biggie had this. I've known about this book since I started in the golden age in the 90s, late in 1988. But I was getting all manner of stuff. I mean, I was looking at the Overstreet Price Guide all the time. And so I knew about this book, and of course, you know me in World War II covers. I've been the Schomburg. I was doing Schomburg to distraction, but DC and Timely and Fawcett, they all had all the titles had World War II great propaganda covers. I mean, they had some really great. And this one is Superman isn't super because you see all the boats, all the lifeboats by the ship. Well, Superman, and he's not flying over to kill him. He's swimming over. So he's already saved all the people, got them into the lifeboats, and then he's coming, and death is coming to them. He will rip the hatch open, and he will kill them. That's what happened on these ones. These guys are toast. But look at the color strike on this one.
Wow.
It's beautiful.
The blues are great.
It's a beautiful book.
And
Biggie's
the last
copy's beautiful too.
And the last one I'll show you is my favorite. And this one is my favorite Superman because when my father's childhood, there were a few books that survived. And there was one Superman book that had the cover was gone and the first 2 wraps were gone. But the rest of the book was there, and it was at my grandparents' house, and I found it. And I fell in love with it. I read it again and again and again and again, and I loved it. In the middle of the book is the first Fortress of Solitude. It's up in the mountains, and it's a 2-page spread. It's beautiful. And then the last story was a Luthor story where Luthor is being electrocuted in prison. He's been convicted of murder, and they're going to juice him. But he has this amulet on, and the amulet takes the power, magic crystal, and then he has all the power, and then Superman and him have this huge brawl, and they're throwing cars at each other. It's great. I had never knew what happened to it. Fast forward to about 1992, and a dealer that I had been buying stuff from said, I just got in a set of Superman 1 through 25. Do you want to come up and take a look and see if you want any? I said, God, okay. He says, and they're really pretty books. So I went up, and I was able to then... He sat me down at a table with a nice light, and I got to go through all of them. And when I got up to issue 17, I started to you don't riffle them. I carefully turn. You know, when you got a big book, you got to be real careful. And, I'm careful. So I'm turning it. All of a sudden, I said, wait. I went right to the middle. There's this Fortress of Solitude. I go to the back, and I wanted to find out, how did Superman defeat Luthor? I said, what did he do? And what happened was Superman is sort of like the musical Annie Oakley or whatever, anything you can do, I can do better. And so he says, well, Luthor, you can't do this. And he starts running around the room, centrifugal force to go around and around. And Luthor says, no trouble. So he starts to run around the room, and then the necklace falls off. Superman grabs the thing, puts it in his pouch. Then they take Luthor back to the slam. Now, he's already been executed, so isn't that double jeopardy? I never really figured that one out. But this is the one it is, and it's Superman number 17.
Oh.
And this one is from July, August of 1942. And the reason why I got it conserved was because this book was cleaned by a conservator, and it wasn't done in the dry cleaning method that is prescribed.
Yeah.
It didn't alter anything. All it anyway, and the
Wow.
Superman #1 of this went into the John Burke. I met John Burke when we became advisors to the Price Guide in 1995, and John Burke bought the #1. And so I have this one, and I had #14, the black cover that has Superman with the eagle on his arm.
Yes.
But that one went away when I got the Schomburg painting. I sold More Fun 73 and that book and some Young Allies to get $14,000 together. I had to do it fast because Jeppy was going to sell the last commissioned piece of
Wow.
art that Alex Schomburg ever produced. And I said, I can replace the book. I got one shot at this. And that's a long story. I won't go into it. But anyway, I ended up with it.
Wow.
So I got this book, and DC loved this cover because they used it for promotional stuff during the war. They used it for Christmas cards. They used it for all manner of stuff during the war. This was very, very ballyhooed as one of their best covers. And it also develops that the very first story in this book is the first time that Lois Lane suspected that Clark Kent and Superman were the same guy.
Yep.
So you have that huge plot development. You got the Fortress of Solitude in the middle. You got a huge Superman Lex Luthor brawl story,
Yep.
and you got a beautiful, one of the nicest propaganda covers you're ever going to see. And can you tell me who the artist is? It's Fred Ray. Fred Ray. Fred Ray is just did beautiful stuff. The issue 14 gets a lot of love, that black cover.
Yes,
all right.
I-
But the stories inside literally are, there's nothing about them. It's pedestrian. This has everything going for it.
I love that splash page. You have it on your Instagram with the question marks around Lois. Oh my god, it's stellar.
Okay, you saw that. That. By the way, that pinup page was done by Joe Shuster, and by this time Shuster was hit and miss because it was all Rodriguez and Cassidy and Sitma and Sikima or whatever, Sikela, Wayne Boring and other people did that.
Yeah, Kurt Swan didn't start doing Superman until 47.
But the thing about this, look at this. This book was drawn. Now, does that look like, it looks like Schuster or Fred Ray? But you know who did this? Wayne Boring.
Really? That's amazing.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying. That's what I'm trying to say. Wayne Boring. Here, when they said, when they was a ghost artist for Joe Shuster, and it's attributed to Joe Shuster, and it sure as hell looks like Joe Shuster, but it's Wayne Boring's spin on Joe Shuster. And look at the green, look at the Celadon green around him on this black cover.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the best.
So anyway, but Wayne Boring, say what you will, but Wayne Boring was really a very good artist.
He was a good artist. He had a unique style, and the fact is, after, like, he was always working for DC. DC lent him out to the Cleveland studio because they saw how well he could do Superman. But he always worked for DC. And one day, Mort Weisinger said to him, "You're done. We're keeping everything in house, so you're only going to do it here. Like, you're going to do what I tell you now, not what Jerry says." So he ended up being there. And one of the worst things ever was literally Wayne Boring was brought in 1967, right into Weisinger's office and told, "You're fired," and was never given a reason. And it was just
to avoid the pension, I think was what it was, wasn't
probably,
it?
Yeah, probably. I mean, that's what most of them were saying. But
What rats they were.
But Boring never found out, and he ended his life doing 10 years as a security guard for a building in Florida where he could barely stand. And I feel, when I heard that, it was like, oh, this is terrible. I always felt
starving artist is a term because it is a term because it is a term. And you know who stood up for Siegel and Schuster?
Neil Adams.
Neil Adams did.
Oh.
Neil Adams stood up and he used all the notoriety he had to stand up for those guys to get him a credit and money. And he used all the power he had, all the notoriety and all the popularity he had. And he used his power to try to help how these guys had been wronged. And if you've seen any of the letters that Siegel wrote about how he's cursing them and wants to have their children have problems and all of your descendants, I hope they all die. I mean, what Siegel wrote, I mean, matter of fact, my local comic shop here in town, there was one of these poison letters that original that was sent to DC that he got at auction. And I guess there's a bunch of them, and he's got one, and he says, read this. And I said, who the hell is this? He says, that's Jerry Siegel.
A lot of them ended up being exhibits in the later cases where DC was using as counter, like, well, this guy was harassing us and all that stuff in the countersuits. It was crazy.
I'll tell you, and that's what happened to Betty Boop. Everybody was suing because she was popular. King Features, Paramount, all the people, the guy, and then the guy that drew her. And so what happens? She ended up getting nowhere because everybody litigated. And so you get a few cartoons and you have hardly anything of her. It's just ridiculous. And she's still wonderfully popular. It's just funny how that whole thing goes. But the lack of foresight and the greediness of DC for what they did to Siegel and Schuster bothered everybody.
Yeah.
Well, keep in mind, A, that's how business was done back then, and 2, Harry Donenfeld was very mobbed up, so he was a very tough man. But the thing that you talk about the Neil Adams part, the thing that really secured their pension was Joe Shuster was working as a bicycle courier, and he went into DC's offices one day because he was bringing a package. And somebody in the secretarial front desk or whatever recognized who he was and, started starstrucking, you know what I mean? She was very, and all that stuff. And then another artist saw him, and one of the big editors came from the back, slipped him a 50 and said, "Get the hell out of here." But DC was so embarrassed by that because they're afraid the story would get out. That was the final straw that they got their pensions.
And by the time they got their pensions, how long did they live? And it was a stipend.
Yes, it was $20,000 a year for life at the time. Now Schuster, that's all he collected because he died before Jerry Siegel went after more, and his estate did not join the lawsuit, which is why. Right now, current comic books say by special permission of the Jerry Siegel family, because the Siegels kept going and they got this extra little bit. But Schuster, of course, died with no wife, no children. The closest thing was a cousin's a cousin's kid was the heir to the Joe Schuster fortune, and that's basically all.
Did you see all the naughty stuff that he drew? They've reprinted those. Have you seen all the naughty pictures that Schuster drew? Where he's got Lois basically as a dominatrix whipping Superman as Clark Kent and Lois.
Yeah.
I mean, by any other name, and you look at that, you're going, "Oh, I like this." Yeah.
And that's how you know it's Schuster. I mean, like the style is so distinct.
How did Bob Kane get such a good deal? Because he got a pretty good deal when it came to credit for Batman, didn't he? Because Bill Finger got completely snubbed.
Well, he was just as bad as Jack Kirby taking credit for, or Stan Lee taking credit for everything. He basically it was. I don't know why they can't share the joy. Jerry Robinson came up with Robin. Jerry Robinson came up with the Batman costume. Jerry Robinson came up with the big moon. Jerry Robinson came up with the Joker and the style of the Joker off of a card. But you think Jerry Robinson was not all that pure either, because he was trying to take credit for covers that Jack Burnley drew.
Yeah.
And Jack Burnley and Fred Ray, they kept their covers off all the books they drew. It's interesting, the creators that they have all the foibles of humanity. And they said, "No, Jerry, you didn't do that. I've got it right here when I bought it. I mean, when I produced it."
Yeah. Well, and I always like the fact that Bill Finger, well, I don't like it. I mean, Bill Finger was such a big part of Batman, and he got nothing because
no, he didn't.
You know what Bob Kane had that nobody else did? A cousin who was a lawyer and whose
That's what it was.
his dad convinced him, go see your cousin and have him represent you. And that's why he got such a better contract.
Because nobody got credit back then. Like in
And
issues.
No
but
one got
Bob did.
no one got rich. Do you know
Yeah.
that? Can you name the cartoon series that Bob Kane came up with in the late 50s, early 60s?
no,
Have you ever heard of Courageous Cat and Minute Mouse?
no.
It's Batman and Robin. It's
Oh my God.
Courageous Cat and Minute Mouse, and they have the Cat Cave, they have the Catmobile, and they have. If just go onto YouTube and put Courageous Cat and
there you
Minute
go.
Mouse,
Yeah.
and you'll be dun 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 dun, and all of it's so cheap, and the voices are like the frog and something like that. Yeah, Courageous Cat. Oh, I don't know what to do.
Well,
But it's got Bob Kane this, Bob Kane that, created by Bob Kane.
yes.
So if you want to watch Batman and Robin as a cartoon in the late 50s, it's Courageous Cat and Minute Mouse.
And the worst part about the whole Bob Kane thing, the thing that makes him the scum of the earth, as far as I'm concerned, or at least his dad was,
Yeah.
Kane signed the contract himself at age 19. At the time, New York law did not allow people under 21 to sign contracts on their own behalf.
Did they penetrate? Yeah.
So they used that in 1961, as a reason to void the contract and get himself a better deal from DC. And this was the time when Kane went behind Siegel's back and got Siegel fired again.
Why would he get Siegel fired? What did he have against Siegel?
What happened was Siegel went to Kane and said, Joe and I are going, okay, the copyright is up 28
they're
years.
going to do a lawsuit.
So now we have a chance to regain the copyright.
Oh, he wouldn't join them.
Siegel was writing stories like the Legion of Superhero stories and stuff for DC. They hired him back. He said, sure, I'll help you on the Friday. And by the Monday, he had ratted them out to DC and used that and the fact that he was too young to sign the contract to get himself a 25% raise in his contract at DC. And Siegel and Schuster, well, Sue Schuster wasn't working again.
Never
But
meet your heroes. Never read about your heroes. That's how true is that?
Well, I mean, Stan Lee, even with his credit thing, he talked about Bob Kane, and he said he was miserable to go out to dinner with because he'd be like, "Hey, I made Batman." You know, anybody who he talked to, it was just
and he would use that. Apparently, he was especially using that to pick up women. He would take a napkin.
How does that get you picked up with women?
Because he gave the impression that he was rich and famous.
So he was Bruce Wayne,
especially during the period where Batman was on television.
God in heaven.
I'd heard that rumor about I can't think of 66 Batman.
I just hope I don't like what happened to Steve Gerber with Howard the Duck, where the rights of the characters and all the litigation, all of it is just too damn many lawyers and greed. And it's the human condition, and comic book stuff is no different from that, where they'll screw you over without a kiss. And it's sad, and I hate that because the characters meant so much. I'm glad I didn't know any of this when I was a kid. I'm glad I didn't know any of this because it would have really colored how I looked at the books, because I loved them for the stories, and I identified they were my friends. Flash, they were the Legion. I'm glad I never knew any of that.
Which is why
I wish I didn't even know it now.
Well, it's why I took a long time to separate the feelings for the people that, like all the people talk about today, about guys like Gaiman and Gaiman, that all have issues. Separate the art from the creator.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only way you're going to enjoy it, because whether you like the person or not, the product was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and it was made to be consumed by people like me who like it. I attempted about 14, 15 years ago, I attempted to write a book about the legal side of comics, which is where I learned all this stuff because I started looking at court papers and things like that. So like decisions and all that other stuff. It's all public record, and it can be found online.
Yeah.
And it depressed me to the point where I can't do this anymore because it's like the way these people were screwed over. I can't. I'm going to lose my love for DC if I keep this up. Was basically
Well, Marvel. Let's face it. Martin Goodman was
worse.
Paragon of virtue. Well, let's face it. Martin Goodman was an incredible shark.
They actually had a stamp made at the Marvel Comics website, shop there, that whenever they sent out a payment to a creator, they stamped on the back, endorsing this check gives us the right to own the characters, basically. Like it's in legalese, but basically, if you sign this check, you're signing over your rights.
Well, it was funny. I don't think Steve Ditko ever raised any sort of problem about it, but he was objectivist. So with Ayn Rand's philosophy, a lot of that stuff, if you're doing work, if you're doing work for a business, he didn't consider it any. He never raised any problems about it, which was interesting to me.
He was quite a character, though.
Yeah.
I mean, the way he would deliver it, in an overcoat, he'd come in and deliver the art and then bug out. Yeah. I mean, he was really a piece of work.
He was an interesting
brilliant person. Though. Brilliant artist.
And they usually say the ones that are geniuses are absolutely, there's something else.
Head cases. That's the term. Head cases.
I won't say that. Anyway, I see by the clock on the wall that it's time to bid you all one and all good night due to the fact that I have to work in the morning. So hey, I want to take time to say thank you to everybody for coming out and hanging out with us tonight. I really appreciate it very much. I particularly want to thank Chris, Eric, and Stephen for coming tonight, showing the wonderful books they have and the knowledge behind them that they had to it. And Eric, I wanted to react to your comment just before we go. That's the reason why I can't watch FOMO Squad. You show something, I'm already going.
Well, I already got stuff in my my shopping cart over on my.
That's why I laugh, because when I write "damn," it usually means my next step is I'm at my comic shop while the show is still going.
That's what I was doing.
That's what
I can tell you, I am guilty of that, because Alan would FOMO me. And then another guy would say, that Scorchy that you're talking about, there's a 9.0 slab and they don't want anything for it. Clickety, 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 click. It's gone now.
Yeah. Thank you all for coming. My name's Matt. I like comics and I really like Superman. Good night, everybody. I hope you do too.
Good night, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.